You chose an interesting location. Most people find crypts unsettling, but I appreciate the ambience. The decay, the silence, the reminder of mortality. Very appropriate for our discussion topic. How have you been? I heard Gotham had a Joker incident recently. Such pedestrian chaos compared to the elegant darkness of true horror. Mother sends her regards. She finds your work fascinating in a primitive way.
I chose the crypt because what we're discussing needs absolute privacy. Your family's reputation for dealing with unusual situations is why I contacted you. Gotham's fine. The Joker is contained again. Tell your mother I appreciate the sentiment, I think. You've been investigating something in New Jersey, correct? Camp Crystal Lake. That's why you're here. You found something that even the Addams family considers worth my attention.
Camp Crystal Lake has a fascinating history of death. Drownings, murders, massacres spanning decades. The locals blame it on an undead killer named Jason VOORHEES, who drowned as a child and returned to punish anyone who trespasses on the campgrounds. I went there hoping for disappointment, some mundane explanation. Instead, I found evidence that Jason is real, unkillable, and genuinely supernatural. Even I was impressed by the body count.
I've reviewed the police reports from Crystal Lake going back 40 years. The death toll is consistent with a serial killer who never ages, never stops, and can't be killed by conventional means. Bullets, fire, drowning, explosions. He survives everything and returns. That suggests either supernatural resurrection or something anchoring him to existence beyond normal biology. What did you discover about the mechanism keeping him alive?
His mother. Pamela VOORHEES was the original killer, murdered by a camp counselor in self-defense. Her rage and grief somehow resurrected Jason, binding him to the lake as a vengeful spirit in physical form. He's tied to that location spiritually. When people die there, it feeds his existence and strengthens the curse. Camp Crystal Lake is essentially Jason's prison and power source simultaneously. Leaving makes him weaker. Staying there makes him unstoppable.
A localized supernatural entity bound to a specific geographic area. That's exploitable. If we can't kill him permanently, we prevent him from killing by removing his access to victims. The camp needs to be condemned, fenced off, and monitored continuously. But that's short-term containment, not a solution. Eventually someone will trespass, and Jason kills them. We need a way to either break the curse or trap him, somewhere he can't reach victims.
Breaking the curse requires dealing with Pamela VOORHEES' spirit, which is unpleasant work, even by my standards. Angry mother spirits are notoriously difficult to reason with or banish. They operate on grief and protective instinct twisted into murderous obsession. I've consulted with my family's library of occult knowledge. There's a ritual that could sever Jason's connection to his mother's rage, but it requires personal items from both Pamela and Jason. Specifically, her head and his original hockey mask.
The head and the mask. Macabre but logical for supernatural ritual work. I can retrieve those items through my contacts in New Jersey law enforcement. They're stored as evidence in different facilities. Once we have them, what does the ritual actually do? Does it destroy Jason, send him somewhere else, or simply render him powerless? I need specifics before committing to a plan that involves dark magic and desecrating evidence.
The ritual severs the spiritual bond, which should theoretically stop Jason's resurrections. He'd remain a dangerous, superhuman killer, but he'd be killable. One final death instead of infinite returns. The alternative is the ritual my Uncle Fester suggested, which involves trapping Jason's spirit in a containment vessel. A cursed object that holds him indefinitely. Less elegant than true death, but more reliable if the severance fails.
Let's get Robin's input.
Jason kills because he's protecting Camp Crystal Lake from trespassers, following his mother's last command to punish the counselors who let him drown. He's not evil, he's a child who never grew up, eternally obeying his mother. If we could show him that his mother's spirit has moved on, that she's not suffering anymore, and doesn't want him killing, he might stop on his own. He's not a monster. He's a confused kid who's been killing for his mom for decades.
Robin's empathy is touching but probably misplaced. Jason has murdered over 100 people. Child or not, confused or not, that's a body count that demands permanent solutions. However, the emotional angle has merit. If we can communicate with Pamela's spirit and convince her to release Jason from his duty, the curse might break naturally. No ritual, no containment, just a mother finally telling her son he can rest.
Convincing a murderous ghost to let go of decades of rage. That's optimistic but worth attempting before more violent options. How do we actually communicate with Pamela VOORHEES' spirit? Does that require a seance, a medium, or specific supernatural conditions? I'm capable of many things, but conversing with the dead isn't in my usual skill set. That's more your family's expertise than mine. Wednesday.
A seance at Camp Crystal Lake during the anniversary of Jason's drowning would create the strongest connection. My cousin Ophelia is an excellent medium when she's not distracted by her taxidermy collection. We'd need protection, though. Attempting to communicate with Pamela means getting Jason's attention. He won't appreciate strangers at Hicks Lake trying to speak with his mother. We'd be conducting a supernatural ritual while an undead killer actively tries to murder us.
Master Bruce, I feel compelled to point out that you're planning to perform a dark ritual at a location known for mass murders while an unkillable supernatural entity attempts to kill you. This seems extraordinarily reckless, even by your admittedly flexible standards of personal safety. What prevents Jason from simply killing everyone during the seance before the ritual completes? Your usual contingencies don't account for supernatural resilience and superhuman strength combined.
Valid concern, Alfred. That's why I'm bringing specialized equipment. I've modified containment fields from Star Labs to generate barriers keyed to spiritual energy signatures. They won't hold Jason indefinitely, but they'll slow him down long enough to complete the seance. Combined with Wednesday's family's supernatural expertise and my tactical planning, we have a reasonable chance of success. Reasonable is the best we get when dealing with undead killers and vengeful spirits.
I appreciate your willingness to embrace the macabre, Batman. Most people would simply bomb the lake or build a prison around it. You're actually trying to help a mother and son, trapped in an endless cycle of murder and resurrection. How refreshingly morbid. I'll arrange the seance and bring cousin Ophelia. You handle the equipment and tactical security. When we perform this ritual, we either free Jason Voorhees from his curse, or we trap him forever. Either outcome provides closure. That's better than he deserves, but better than the victims deserve to wonder when he'll return again.